Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Tyler Stratton from Stratton Sports. Not much going on in the sports world. The NCAA tournament was supposed to culminate this week with this national championship game. Sadly, we did not get one of the best events in sports. And in honor of the NCAA tournament, I'm going to break down the top 5 championship games from the last decade. There were some really good ones and very exciting moments. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment, give me a like. And with that said, let's get right to it. Top 5 national championship games from the last 10 years. The 2015 championship, Duke 68, Wisconsin 63, and what was a really solid basketball game. The first half was absolutely back and forth. Wisconsin would get a lead, and then Duke would come back. Duke would get a lead. Wisconsin would come back. It was a really back and forth tilt. In the start of the second half, Wisconsin really solidified their dominance, was actually up by 9 with 13 minutes left. And then a freshman, who was a freshman at this time, by Grayson Allen, would go on his own personal 6-0 run to get the Blue Devils within 3. They would take control of that game, and it was a free throw shooting contest at the end. But this is really remembered for Grayson Allen's coming out party. Was part of that solid freshman recruiting class. Tyrus Jones, Justice Winslow, Okafor. Okafor was the stud in that team, and he was in foul trouble in this basketball game, so they needed someone to step up. These were the 2 best teams in basketball, both 1 seeds. Wisconsin, Sam Decker, Frank Kaminsky, the 2 big boys who could shoot from the outside, Decker who could also play inside. Decker was very athletic. Wisconsin was very fundamentally sound, as was Duke. Duke was starting to become the one-and-done factory they are now. They weren't all the way in. They still had some upperclassmen like Jefferson and Quinn Cook who really contributed in that game, but it was starting to become the freshman show in Duke, and the freshmen took over this game for Coach K's group. But Duke just had more talent, I think, overall as a team. 1-2 was matched evenly. Kaminsky, Decker, Okafor, Tyrus Jones, or Justice Winslow. But after that, Duke had more athletes, more players, and that is why they won this basketball game. That is number 5 on our list. Louisville 82, Michigan 76, and what this game is remembered for is its first half theatrics, 2 guys from each team putting on clinics. Spike Albrecht, he was a freshman on this Michigan team, averaged 1.8 points during the regular season. He went off for 17 points in the first half, hitting 3 after 3 after 3. He hit 4 3-pointers, 4 for 4. He got to the free throw line, just put on a show. Him and Trey Burke dominated the first half because Trey Burke out of the gate, he went off. I think he scored the first 6 or 7 points for the Michigan Wolverines, but foul trouble is what doomed him during this game. So they're up 35-23 over Louisville late in the first half, and then in comes Luke Hancock. 4 straight 3-pointers. He just buried these shots, 12 straight points for him, and that got this team back in the game. That's what got Louisville back in it. Without that performance from him, I think Michigan wins this basketball game. And in the second half, Louisville just executed better. They just ran better sets. It was a more smooth operation that the Cardinals were running. Peyton Siva, the upperclassman, he had 18 points in this game. He was perfect from the free throw line, got his teammates open shots, really ran the offense well, and did a fantastic job in the second half in propelling his team. And this game was close. It was a 2-point game with under 7 minutes left, but ultimately Louisville pulled away late, and it became a free throw shooting contest, which Louisville won, and that propelled them to what is now a vacated NCAA championship. Virginia 85, Texas Tech 77 in overtime, and there's not much to break down about this game. It's just Virginia was a team of destiny. The Elite 8 game, Purdue had the game won, and then Virginia gets the miracle tip back, free throw shot. Against Auburn, they were beat. They come up with the miracle. And in this game, they're down 3 with 12 seconds left in regulation. DeAndre Hunter hits a huge 3-point shot to tie the game up, and then they block a 3, goes into overtime, and then their defensive dominance really stepped up, and Texas Tech didn't score the first 7 minutes of this basketball game. Virginia's defense was dominant early. Texas Tech did fight back in this game. They were down by 3 after Ty Jerome hit a 3 to end the first half. It was 32-29 Virginia. They won 3 straight games. They absolutely should have lost. That's all the breakdown. The trio of Kyle Guy, DeAndre Hunter, and Ty Jerome were just sensational. Those those guys were all drafted in the NBA, rightfully so, because what they did in that NCAA tournament run was phenomenal, hitting big shot after big shot after big shot, and DeAndre Hunter's three. That's what's going to be remembered from that national title game, because Texas Tech had this one, but they hit a three to tie it, and ultimately they would win in overtime in what was a really solid game between two fundamentally sound college basketball teams. Duke 61, Butler 59, and this was a game between two schools playing fundamentally sound basketball, playing fundamentally sound defense, not wanting to lose the basketball game. First, you look at the Duke Blue Devils. This was not the one-and-done team that the Duke Blue Devils now have. You know, they were led by all upperclassmen, Shire, Singler, Smith, all upperclassmen, juniors or seniors, and they just shot the ball well and played good team basketball. And then you look at Butler. These were the darlings, the Cinderella team of this NCAA tournament. They were good. They were a 5 seed, but they weren't supposed to be here. The Final Four was in Indy this year. It was just a perfect story, and Butler won close game after close game after close game to get to this point. It was a really fun run to watch. And, you know, every time you thought Duke would pull away, here comes Butler hitting a big shot, getting a big defensive stop. They really played good basketball. You know, Butler had Gordon Hayward, who plays for the Celtics, Shelvin Mack, Matt Howard. They had three really solid players. Two of them did play in the NBA. You know, Duke, they were up by 5 points late in this game, and then Butler playing fundamentally sound basketball. They get two easy shots from Matt Howard to make it a 1-point game, and they had the chance to win it with Gordon Hayward under 10 seconds left, but he missed a fadeaway jumper that looked good. And then Zubek goes to the line for Duke. They're up one at this point. He makes the first. He misses the second intentionally. Jim Nantz had an awesome call on the last play of the game.
So they would hope that Zubek makes this.
Not going to try. It's Hayward pulling it down. Getting around Zubek. At midcourt, launches the shot. Oh, it almost went in!
2016 championship, Villanova 77, North Carolina 74, in what is one of the great endings in all of college basketball history. The game was really good all throughout. It's not, you know, it is remembered for its ending, but the first half was a really well-played basketball game. North Carolina, it was their worst three-point shooting team they had ever had at North Carolina up to that point, and they hit some big threes. Really couldn't miss from three-point land in the first half. They were led by Marcus Page and Bryce Johnson, both upperclassmen. Joel Berry, he was playing on bad ankles. It was just a team that really wanted to win basketball games and came up big in the big moments. Villanova started pulling away in the second half. They had some solid upperclassmen. Hart, Archie Dianaco was a cold-blooded point guard. I mean, he really could dish the ball, find the open man, but he also could hit big shots, which he did late in the second half, all nothing but nets. So Villanova, it was a good game. Villanova was pulling away up 10 with under 5 minutes left, and then Carolina goes on a 7-0 run. On this team, you had Justin Jackson, was a solid guy who could shoot outside and inside. Bryce Johnson was a big force underneath, so they really worked their offense, got back in the game. Then it all set the stage. Villanova up by 3. 10 seconds left. Marcus Page hits an unbelievable off-balance three in what is one of the most clutch shots in NCAA history. He had hit big shots all game long. He was a senior. He did not want to lose, and it tied the game, which set the stage for Chris Jenkins hitting the ultimate shot in college basketball history.
They go length of the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
Unbelievable finish, unbelievable game, and that's why it's number 1 on this list. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you thought about this list. Do you agree with number 1 and number 2? Could they be swapped? Fantastic basketball games. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so. Hit that like button, and I'll be back to try to find some more sports content to talk about in the next coming days. Until then, this is your boy saying, so long.